good afternoon, good evening. Welcome up to the Open Up Live Talk Show. My name is Linda Tilson, and I am an empowerment coach. I'm owner of Learn from Linda. I'm an entrepreneur, and I'm an International Men's Day USA ambassador. Voice of Men 360 is a nonprofit organization founded in 2020 and is based in Toronto, Canada. Voice of Men 360 was born out of seeing a tremendous need and stepping up to provide services to help, support, and overcome men's, boys' life challenges. We are part of International Men's Day. International Men's Day has been serving for over 21 years and so far 90 countries around the world. They join together and are doing various activities on a regular basis. International Men's Day follows 6 pillars, which is the overall well-being of boys and men. We follow in the same footsteps. So why open up? Because men do not open their hearts and are not often willing to share their matters with just anyone. When we keep our emotional challenges within ourselves, and we do this for a long time, at some point we might explode and it will affect our health conditions in many ways. That is why we want to create an open space where we allow an individual to share their life journey through our platform. We aim to create awareness about the life challenges, struggles, and how to navigate the ups and downs of things that happen in our lives. There are no limitations with gender, age, nationality, or ethnic groups in sharing our life journey. All walks of life can participate. Our goal is to make a positive impact on someone's life through this program. Open Up is on Sundays at 10 a.m. Eastern Time. We bring an individual to each show and invite them to share their life experiences with you. Before I introduce our special guest for today, I would like to go through our disclaimer. We'd like to remind you that Voice of Men 360 is always delivered with good faith toward peaceful harmony. The views and opinions expressed in today's episode are those of our speakers and do not represent Voice of Men 360. Our organization engages in discussion forums to offer inspiration and create awareness of the issues of men who wish to become their life challenges. We are not providing medical or therapeutic advice. Should you require that type of assistance, we recommend you contact a medical professional immediately. If you have any questions or concerns about today's episode or any Voice of Men 360 content, please email us at the info@voiceofmen360.org. And today's speaker is Nathan Spiteri. He is author, advocate, writer, actor, and International Men's Day USA ambassador. I'm pleased to have him join us.
Be here.
So today when we get started, I really want to dive in and ask this one question here to get a real idea and sense of who you are as a man and who has influenced you. What were some of the incidents that happened to you in your childhood, maybe when you were 5, 10, 15, that really have influenced or inspired you in what you're doing today in your advocacy work?
Well, I guess it all started when I was 8 years old and I was abused. I was raped for the first time, and that went on for 5 years. And as a result of that, of not talking about it or saying anything, I entered a world of addiction and abuse and sex and violence. And so things that have inspired me to do the work today is, at that young age, I can't really say there was anyone, there was a figure who inspired me. It's just the work I've done since then, the work I've done since coming out about my past and about my abuse. The therapy, the group therapy, the rehab, working with my counselors and my therapists, and working with fellow group members. They're the sorry, they're the ones who have inspired me. They're the ones who have pushed me forward to talk about my story, to try and make a difference and create change in the world. Because what I've realized over the past few years is that there are many thousands and thousands of men and women who do not have a voice, who will never find closure, who will never find peace. So if by me telling my story enables them to find some peace and to get some closure and to move forward, then that's what it's about for me. So I can't really say there has been an influential figure from when I was 5 or 10 years old or 15 years old, because I guess that's when I was deep in my abuse, um, and I pushed my family and friends and people away, and I felt love for my abuser. I fell into a Stockholm syndrome type relationship with him. He was the one who I wanted to be with, the one I loved. So he was an influential figure. So if you want to say that, my abuser was, because what he did to me, what he taught me about life and about myself and who I am, and how unfair life can be. Um, he was a pivotal figure in that. So yeah, if anything, I'd probably say it was my abuser who really influenced me to come out and talk about this and talk about where I'm at now, and um, talk about my life. You know, this is something I never wanted to do, something I never wanted to speak about, something I never wanted to be a part of. But through my therapy and my rehab and just learning about myself, learning about my relationship with this man, my family, with friends and lovers, um, it's brought me to where I am today. So yeah, if it is anyone, if I don't know if it's a right or wrong answer, it would be my abuser. Um, and then that was early in life, and then later in life, it would be through my therapist and my family and my best friends and the people who have been there to support me.
I don't really think that that is the wrong answer. I don't really think that there is necessarily a right one. It
Mm.
was your experience and your exposure in your family life. And in the case of your abuser, how could you not be influenced in some way for the good or the bad? And you know, you mentioned how you got to know who you were through this experience. Yes, it was not a good experience, but the good that came from this is that who you are today, you were able to take some of that experience, and instead of staying in that place of the addiction, abuse, that you brought yourself forward in a healthy, positive way. You sought counseling, you sought support, all of those things. And, you know, showing that you went through this and you came out and you were willing to talk about it, that opens it up for other men that have gone through that too. Because, you know, to you know, women go through abuse as well, and we will open up and share about it. For a man to do it, this feels like it's probably a double-edged sword about whether to bring it up or not. And there's things that go with that, but you went and moved through it anyway. And so I want to thank you for doing that, because I think that's so important.
Thank you. Yeah. Um, it is still a taboo subject for men. You know, we need to change the narrative. We need to change the stigma that surrounds male and child sexual abuse. Um, and in me coming out and talking about this and telling my story, I've realized just how hard it is for people to want to listen to me, for people to want to support me, especially people in the media. Um, I've had so many people in the media say to me, Nathan, if you're a woman, we talk to you today. Because you're a man, we are not going to talk to you. And that's just the way it is. That's where society's at. So we need to create that change. We need to start having the conversation. We need to educate ourselves as adults, as leaders, as a community of thinkers and doers. Because otherwise, what's the point? You know, we need to educate our kids, but in order to educate our kids, we need to educate ourselves first as adults. Um, and we just need to break that stigma. We need to break that narrative. of male and child sexual abuse. Um, yeah, it is a lot, and obviously I don't want to lighten it, but it is a lot easier for women to come out and talk about it and to share their stories and their experiences. But for men, it's a no-go zone. So yeah, we need to create that change. We need to create the conversation, and we need to just tell people that this happens a lot more than people think it does. It's 1 in 6 men have been sexually assaulted or abused in their life, and they're the men who come forward. So just think about the thousands and thousands and thousands of men who never come forward. There's probably more 1 in 4 men. Um, and we need to raise that. We need to raise that awareness. We need to talk about it. We need to have people know that this happens all the time.
Absolutely. They need to know this happens all the time, and it's not okay to suppress a man or a boy's voice. That it needs to come out. It needs to get open. It needs to change the stigmatism that's attached to that. You're absolutely right. This is the time in our program. I'm going to read a few announcements, and then I'm going to come back and we're going to rejoin for some more questions that I have for you. So the announcements that I have to share is that we have a special roundtable discussion on Residential School Systems 101 this Thursday, October 13th from 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We have special guest Lila Bruyere, residential school survivor, and we would like you to join us through Zoom. The Zoom link is our Facebook group page. Also, look for our poster, and it has all the details. You can contact 437-889-8329 or info@voiceofmen360.org. We also have a lunch and learn event on Residential School Systems 101. There will be a documentary screening, speakers, presenters. There'll be performances and dances, storytime craft activities with Jay and Gizmo. This will be happening on Saturday, November 5th from 1 to 3 p.m. Eastern Time at the Wolf Performance Hall, the London Public Library, and they're located at 251 Dundas Street, London, Ontario, N6A6H9, and it's a free event, so take advantage of that. And again, if you have any questions, you can reach us at the phone number or info@voiceofmen360.org. And then we've got one more here, the Third Global Observance, a week-long celebration of International Men's Day. That'll be happening on Sunday, November 13th to Saturday, November 19th. Every day we will be having 2 hours of virtual events, and it will be through Zoom, and we'll be providing the register to join. We are also looking for speakers from all walks of life. We also want to recognize men who have been contributing to their families, communities, organizations, and to society. We would like you to nominate them and let us know. We got to recognize these men. Please contact us at 437-889-8329 or info@voiceofmen360.org. You can find more details on our Facebook group and page under Voice of Men 360. Now we're going to go back to our interview here. And so the next question I have for you really lies around, again, the influence. You had mentioned where you had the male influence when you were younger. Now that you have moved through the space into a place where you're doing advocacy work, who really has impacted you that's a male in your life right now? What would you say? How has it changed, or has it?
I think my very good friend, Norman Freed, he's a therapist. He's a psychotherapist. He's an amazing man. He was also the editor for my memoir, Toy Cars. And he, when I'm down, when I'm depressed, when I'm in a bad place, when I just don't want to do this anymore, when I think all hope is gone, he's always been there and been such a positive influence on me, and taught me about life, taught me about who I am, taught me about what I'm going through. Um, when I had a breakup with my girlfriend in February, and it was the first time I felt real feelings. He was the one who was there and supported me and picked me up and told me that as hard as it is now, this was the best thing that's happened to me because I'm going to grow so much from it and learn so much from it. And it's the same as my abuse. As hard as it was and as much as it devastated me and it killed me, I learned so much from it, and it's made me a better person today. Um, so Norman has been an enormous influence on me, and we're now doing the speaking circuit together, and we talk about my story, and I talk it from a lived experience, and he talks about it from a therapist academic experience. So he's been an enormous influence, and so is my mentor Neil Koenigsberg, who was a huge publicist in LA and had a lot of A-list celebrities. He's retired now, but he was one of the first men I met in New York when I moved to New York. And he was such a great influence in teaching me about life and about the industry and how it's tough, but how you don't give up. And I think that just surrounds all aspects of life, not to give up on whatever your dream is, whatever you're trying to pursue, whatever you're going through. Um, and just to breathe and sit with it and be in it, be in that fight, be in that mess. Um, so those two are the two bigger influences in my life. And then I have my two brothers and my father, and they're all in Australia. And, when I get to speak with them, they've always been very supportive and very loving and very encouraging, and told me not to give up and to really pursue this, and as tough as it is. So, there have been a few men in my life who have been great influences. Um, but definitely Norman and Neil would be the first two.
I'm really glad that you have that community of supporters, because you talked about your your therapist. So being able to partner and do the advocacy work, you have it in your career, what path to go down through your work, and then your brothers and your father, the family support. So really to have that wide range of support is very helpful in life. And um, I can't advocate enough how important it is to have mentors, coaches, therapists in your life, because those people can step in a different way than our family can. But our family is so important to us. We can't do, and we can't go through life without our family. They're there from day one.
Absolutely. And I realize that if you're going to go on this journey, if you're going to talk about your past and come out and seek the help and try and find some peace and closure, as I mentioned earlier, you need that support system. You can't do it alone, because if you do it alone, it'll be a very lonely and hard life. You need those people who are going to sit there with you, who are going to love you, who are going to support you, who are going to listen to you, who are going to believe you, um, and who are going to pick you up when you fall down. And I've fallen down so many times, and I tried to do it on my own, and I fell down even further, and I fell off the wagon, so to speak. So to have that support system there, to have that support system there is super important, and is we all need it. We can't do it alone. We're not superhuman, and it's okay not to be okay. It's okay not to be well. It's okay to be vulnerable, and more importantly, it's okay to say that you're not okay, um, and to seek that help and to seek that support. And I think that's what's missing today, is that when men come out, and especially in the past when they've come out, people have told them to shut up, or people have told them that they're lying, or people have not supported them. So then men suppress it and just put it away forever. And then that anger and that hatred and that depression and that toxic masculinity and the shame just builds and builds and builds and builds until they just, they can't handle it anymore, and they lose their way. So I think having that support system is very, very important.
You said a lot of interesting things here as far as what it takes for men to be able to open up and kind of what happens when they're shut down. What else do you think men need to be able to feel like they can really truly like open up and not withhold or not fear the being shut down? What do you think, if you had to say, like for maybe even for you, what you need in order for that to be able to happen?
I think men and the world need to realize that toxic masculinity is the outgrowth of men being groomed into believing that showing any form of vulnerability is weak, and it's not good, and it's not manly. And that's just wrong. It's not true. Men need to they need to be able to cry. They need to be able to express how they feel, openly communicate, share the darkest secret of their life. And they need to know that it's okay not to be okay, that it's okay to not be well. It's okay to be depressed. Um, so I think that is a super important thing is just to know that it's okay to show some vulnerability, to cry, to communicate, to express how you feel, to say you're not feeling well, to have that support system there as well. Super important. And I think men just need to have the courage to come forward and talk about it. Um, yes, we may be judged, and yes, people are going to look at us differently. But you know what? When you come out, when you talk about it, you get your power back. And I think that's more important than anything. You get your life back. Um, so I think it's just, we just need to be open. The world needs to be open. The world needs to listen. And I think the world needs to respond to what we're saying and how we're feeling. Because at the moment, no one's responding, no one's listening, no one cares. So I think we need to, as a community, we need to come together and support each other. We're all about supporting women and the Me Too movement, and that's been extraordinary. It's been amazing. But why can't we do that for men now as well? Um, so I think, yeah, support, vulnerability, courage, and just surrounding yourself with the right people. That's super important. Just surrounding yourself with the right people who, as we spoke earlier, are just going to be there for you, are going to support you, are going to love and trust and believe you, and pick you up when you're down.
That's right. And, this brings us to the question, we have International Men's Day. There's an opportunity to be a Men's Day USA ambassador. You and I met this way. And can you tell everyone that's listening why they should join us for the International Men's Day events and what they can expect to get out of this experience? And if they hadn't considered it before, why they should.
I think they should. I think people should jump on board and be a part of International Men's Day, because there are so many men suffering in the world. Um, 79% of all global suicides are men. Over 70% of those suicides are related to men who have who have trauma that they haven't been able to talk about. They haven't been able to express and share how they feel. So I think it is super important for everyone to come on board with International Men's Day, to show some support, to show some love for the men who are suffering in the world. And I think in doing that, not just the men who have been through the abuse, but everyone who comes on board, they're going to learn, they're going to evolve, they're going to grow, they're going to educate themselves. And in doing that, they are then able to educate others and educate their children and share the stories that they've heard. And get on board so that next year it's bigger again, and the year after it gets bigger again. So I think we just need to raise the awareness, and people who come on board need to be able to do that. They need to be able to know that they're going to be okay, and that they're going to be listened to, and that they're going to be supported, and they're not the only ones who are going through this. I think that's super important, to know that you're not the only one. For a long time, I thought I was the only one. I thought I was the only one who was lost and hurting. But there are so many of us out there. So if we all come together, we can create huge change. We can create some amazing conversations, and we can really make a difference in this world to so many lives. You know, whether we've been abused, whether we haven't, just coming together, showing love, showing support, showing comfort. That is all we need. For most of us, we just need someone who's going to listen to us. And for a long time, we haven't had anyone who's going to listen to us, or who's wanted to listen to us. So now we finally have that opportunity. And I think people need to embrace that and come together.
I couldn't agree more with the whole coming together to share stories, to be supportive, to learn and grow together really in this supportive space. And by doing all those things, that's how we get to healthy masculinity. That's what the phrase that we want to use is healthy masculinity. Then we're going to drop the other phrase altogether. One of our viewers was mentioning that just using that phrase is an issue, and I think that they're right. We should talk
Yeah.
about, what does healthy masculinity look like? How do we impart that to the men and boys in our lives? As a mother, I have two sons. I am always looking for ways to be healthy and supportive, and that's both of the boys that they are, and how you treat women, how they show up to be contributors in society, all of these great things. I'm always trying to figure out, how can I impart that? How can I support them? How do we have those rich conversations where we just talk about the things that are on their minds and important to them, so they have that voice? I'm always looking to do that. And my youngest son, Nathan, we're having he's 12. We're always having these really great conversations. And same with my 17-year-old son, Brad. We're doing that, and it's an ongoing dialogue and conversation. So we're not going to go, hopefully, to that space. They know that they can open up. They know they can cry. They know they can have feelings. And the thing that I want them to know the most is support your other boys, and then eventually men in everything. Just be there for that support. So if somebody's pushing somebody down and saying, you can't say that, well, then they're going to stand up and say, well, yes, you can. And you give them space. I want them to be able to have that internal power to be able to do that for themselves, but then to allow and to create the space for others to do the same. I can't advocate enough how important that is to
Absolutely.
me as their mom.
I think you hit the nail on the head when you said, just by communicating and having that conversation with your children and with other adults or with other men, that's where it all begins. Just asking someone, hey, are you okay? How you doing? That's where it all begins. So I think, yeah, teaching our kids that it's okay to be vulnerable, it's okay to cry, it's okay to express how you're feeling. And I think one of the most important things for our children, for boys, is we need to send our boys to co-ed schools, to schools that are boys and girls, just so that men, and I'm getting off the subject a bit, but just so that men know how to communicate with women, how to treat women, how to just live with women. Because I think a big problem is you got these guys who are just going to male schools. They don't know how to talk to women. They don't know how to act with women, and they treat women as an object, as an animal, as something that they can use and abuse. So I think it's very important to send our kids to co-ed schools. And it's very important from the very beginning to teach our kids that their penis is called a penis and their vagina is called a vagina. It belongs to them. No one can touch it. It's okay to show vulnerability. It's okay to say if you don't feel comfortable. It's okay to say this man touched me or that one did this to me or that this did, and they're not going to get into trouble. They're going to be believed. They're going to be trusted. And I think that's a problem, because when I've said that in many of my talks, I've had so many parents say to me, I can't have that conversation with my kid. I'm not going to have that conversation with my kid. And that's where the problem lies, in that so many parents don't want to educate their children on this matter. And it's their kids, it's their life. And that's what's I just don't get it. I don't get how people don't want to let their kids know that they're going to be okay, that they can talk about it, that they can express how they feel. So, we still have a long way to go. But in order to educate our children, we first need to educate ourselves as adults. Otherwise, we're not going to go anywhere. Um, but yeah, I think you hit the nail on the head when you said you talk to your boys all the time. It's an open slate, and they can talk about whatever they want, how they feel, drugs, sex, women, whatever, depression, whatever they're going through. And that's what we need to do more of.
I agree with you there about why are parents having a hard time with those conversations. To me, it seems easy. And I will tell you that my son went through the sex education piece and he's like, Mom, it makes me feel weird and this and that. And so we talked about it and I gave him a couple of perspectives for how to treat other girls that might be going through some things that, could be embarrassing or whatever. Don't be that person that makes fun of them if something happens. And then I said, you got to know these things because you want to be in a place where you love and care the person when that day comes. And so we talked about it. And so that's a life lesson. We're all humans. Why should we be embarrassed to talk about these things? I mean, I want to set him up for success. I don't want him to like hide from it or feel scared, because he kind of came from I don't like this experience. It was embarrassing for me. I hate it. I don't want to be there. And I'm like, well, you got to know how to exist in life. And so then after talking, he felt better about it. So to me, I don't know, I've always been open about things, and I actually started being open about something because a physician said I should be open about something. And so I always have. And so I've always seen the value in that and to be
We
open
need
and
to tell them,
honest.
yeah, we need to tell them it's a natural part of life.
Mm-hmm.
It's okay to talk about it, that it's comfortable. It's sexuality, and we all go through it. We all feel it, and it's a natural thing, and they shouldn't be embarrassed. And then on the flip side, if they are uncomfortable, if someone's doing something, if someone's touching them the wrong way or speaking to them the wrong way, they need to know that it's okay to talk about that as well.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so you've got the yin and the yang. We need to let them know that you can talk about this one and you can talk about this one, and they're going to be okay, and they're going to be trusted, and they're going to be believed. And I think that's a big thing. They're not believed, or they're told to be quiet about it, because the parents don't want to look bad, or the parents don't want to be embarrassed, or the parents don't want to come off in the wrong way. And it's not about the parents, it's about the kids.
Mm-hmm.
So we just need to raise awareness. We need to talk about it. We need to educate ourselves. We need to do a lot. We talk about it. We talk about doing it, but now we need to do it. And yeah, whether we can do it or not, that's the issue.
Yes, that is the issue. So I want to move our conversation to fast forward. We're past the point where we're educating our kids. We're adults now living. And so I have this question here. Have you ever been in a relationship where you felt that you were not seen or heard? And what did you do to improve the situation? Because I think this comes up a lot for men and women in relationships. wanting to be seen and heard, and not happening. And how do you work through that? Because I know there's definite differences between how men and women want to communicate, or maybe not communicate.
And that's a problem.
Yes.
They're not being seen or heard because they're not communicating it. Um, it's I don't know. I think all relationships, whether they're sexual, whether it's parents, whether it's brothers and sisters, whether it's a lover, whatever it all comes down to communication. Because if there is no communication there is nothing. If you can't express how you feel, if you can't express what the other person's doing to you, if you can't express what you're going through, then the other person's not going to know. Or the gaslighting, the narcissism is going to continue if you don't say, listen, you're doing this to me. You're making me feel this way. You need to stop doing this. And if we don't do that, if we don't express it, if we don't talk about it, then it's just going to get worse. We're going to sink deeper into a hole. And I've been in relationships where I've never been heard. And I've probably, sorry, I've got a bit of a cold. I've been in relationships, I'm sure, where I gaslit. And this was before I realized what I went through and what I was going through. So I think there's a lot of us out there who have not opened up about their past, who don't know how to be in a relationship. And I put my hand up to be the first one to talk about that. I didn't know how to be in a relationship. I didn't know how to communicate. So I had these partners, my girlfriends or whatever it was, would take advantage of me because they knew they could get away with things, or I took advantage of them. And I didn't care because I was in a bad place in my own life, that I didn't care if I hurt these other people. So it's about communication. It's about education. It's about learning what's right from wrong. It's about being able to express how you feel about that. And it's about moving forward with that person, but also coming together. A relationship isn't about one person, it's about two people. And if you can't come together, if you can't give a little, then the relationship isn't going to work. So I think you need to be able to just communicate, express how you feel, show what you want, show that vulnerability, but also be strong and also be brave and say, listen, if you don't change your ways, if you're not going to come together with me on this, then I need to walk away. And I think that's the problem, is that a lot of people don't walk away because they're scared they're going to be alone. They're scared no one's going to want to be with them, especially if their partner is a narcissist or a gaslighter telling them that they're ugly or they're fat or no one's going to love them and that I'm the only one who's going to want to be with you. Then that the whole mental and emotional abuse is so much worse than the physical, because the mental and the emotional is the thing that kills you, is the thing that just brings you down. We can heal from our wounds, we can heal from our bruises, but it's the mental side of it that takes us down. So we need to be aware of where we're at. We need to be able to express where we're at. We need to be able to just say, hey, no more, I'm out. We need to be brave.
I love that you said that. Be brave, not accepting negative things that hurt us, and being able to say that if you can't meet me here, I'm going to walk away because this isn't good for me. Being able to say that and do that. A lot of people have trouble with that, and they shouldn't. We should
Yeah.
always speak up. And this really brings me to want to ask, what are you doing right now as far as your projects, your plans? Tell us more about your book. People can pick that up so they can get another level of support from you, because I think
Um,
that's important.
sure. My memoir is called Toy Cars, and it's available on Amazon. It's Barnes and Noble, Target. So it's available on all online bookstores. I'm doing a TED talk in 2 weeks, which is very exciting. That's going to take place in Dallas, so I'll be out in Dallas for a week or so, doing a TED talk there. I just got invited to go to Spain, to Madrid, to speak there about addiction and abuse. Um, my book is now with a bunch of producers in LA who want to turn it into a movie or into a TV show. A movie script's actually being written about it. So yeah, there's a lot of exciting projects, and for me, this is just the beginning. And I say it again, that this is something I never wanted to do, but I fell into it, and I know my place in the world now and what I'm doing and where I'm at. And I know it's important to me. And for me, it's just about peace and love and joy, because I've never felt all three. I've never experienced it. So it's about moving forward that way. But it's also about, it's an ongoing thing. It's an everyday thing. And it's about evolving into a better person, growing into a better person, becoming stronger, knowing who I am and what I want. So it's, continuing on with the therapy, continuing on with these support groups. It's not, okay, I'm cured now, I'm fine, and I can just move on. It's an everyday thing, a support thing. So, there's a lot of projects going on, and International Men's Day coming up soon. And it's about just raising awareness and getting in front of the right people and getting in front of the media. So I really hope through my TED talk, because there have not really been many TED talks about male sexual abuse, I really hope my TED talk can create the change that is needed, can open the door for the thousands of people to come behind me. And it's tough, it's a heavy subject. So again, we need that support. We need to take some time out. We need to do the things that we enjoy, and we need to be able to just surround ourselves with the right people. Otherwise, it is heavy, it is exhausting, and it will bring you down. So, as much as I have so many things going on and it's all exciting, I just need to make sure that I take care of myself. Whether you're going through what I'm going through, whether you're going to do a TED talk, whether your book's going to become a movie, whether you write a book, or whether you just tell your husband or your wife or your therapist, it's about just taking care of yourself, first and foremost. So yeah, lots of things. And for those who want to follow me properly, I guess just get me on Instagram. That's probably the best way. And you can reach out to me on Instagram as well, and I'd be happy to talk to you. So yeah, just stay strong, stay brave, and keep fighting. And it does get easier. The more you talk about it, the more you understand it, it does get easier. So just don't give up.
That's a great message. Don't give up. Keep going. I want to thank you, Nathan, for the work that you're doing in the advocacy. I want to thank you for being a part of International Men's Day and the event that we're putting on. Getting to work with you to put this out there, it means a lot to me and the people that we're impacting. And so I'm so glad that we met in this way. Thank you.
Me too, absolutely. And I look forward to doing more of these with you and just seeing where we can take it all.
I know we can take it far.
Excellent.
So now we have a few more announcements. We want to share that Open Up is about sharing your personal life journey. This live talk show is on Sundays at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. We also have Vili, the Tamil live talk show on Sundays at 8 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. We have monthly webinars, the first Saturday of every month at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. We bring expertise, organizations, and we discuss a particular topic each time. We also have a monthly special show, The Unspoken Tears. It happens the second Saturday of every month from 10 a.m. to 11 Eastern Standard Time. And the focus is domestic violence against men, bullying, male sexual abuse, traumas, porn addiction, and human trafficking. We also have the Authors Circle. We want to bring individuals who have been contributing to the well-being of men and boys through writing, articles, media, and we want to recognize them and appreciate them. This happens the third Saturday of every month from 11 a.m. to 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We have a podcast. All of our shows are available on 6 platforms, including iPhone, Google Play, and so on. We have a monthly men's group meeting, and it's only for men by men every 2 weeks on Tuesdays from 6 p.m. to 7:30 p.m. through Zoom. The next one will be October 18th. There is no recordings, and so if this is something that you'd like to participate in, you can join by Zoom, and the link is available on our Facebook group and page. We have Pass the Talking Stick, and that's for Indigenous peer-to-peer support group. There are no limitations to gender, age, nationality, or ethnic groups. All walks of life can participate in any of our shows. If you want to be a guest on our show, then you can speak to us directly or indirectly. Reach out to us. We would love to work with individuals, professionals, experts, community organizations, associations, corporations, government officials, and businesses. Our phone number is 437-889-8329, and our email address is info@voiceofmen360.org. Our website, www.voiceofmen360.org. You can also find us on all social media. We have a Facebook group and a page. Join our group so you can see our daily activities and invite your friends as well. Other social media platforms that we're on include Instagram, LinkedIn, Twitter, YouTube, and TikTok. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel, Voice of Men 360. And we do this because we want to reach as many people as possible because we want to provide that support system. Please continue to support us and invite others to do the same. Thank you.